joining us now. We're breaking down the wall between the TV studio and our social media newsroom. Whether you're with us on this very TV channel or on CGTN's mobile app, you will have a 360-degree view of the whole event. With me in the studio is my colleague Wang Tongxuan. Over in our digital newsroom is CGTN social media editor Marco Shan. We'll start with Marco. What do you have in store for us today?
And hello everyone, here's Marco live from CGTN Digital's newsroom. And first of all, here's a little update about what's going on here. As we are already halfway through the two sessions this year, let me tell you a little more about how our own reporters are covering this year's major events. And make sure to check out CGTN's My Vlog series of our reporters recording their lives, including doing research, setting up interviews with delegates, and other interesting moments of covering the event. For other original stories, we're going to talk about China's international aid. In today's Ask China episode, our guests will be answering the question, how can China help other developing countries with its experiences? On the same topic, there's also going to be a video explaining how China became a country that gives aid to other countries while they used to be receiving from others. Okay, now let's take a look on the list of things to do from my TV colleague Tongxuan. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Marco. Back to the TV coverage. I'm going to start off with a big tease for tomorrow's Global Watch. On Monday, NPC deputies will have one day off, giving us a chance to invite them to our studio. We're going to be joined by two NPC deputies from China's minority ethnic groups. Tan Hong is a member of Zhuang minority and Huang Bingfeng is from Maonan ethnic group. They will catch us up on the meetings they've attended over the past week and share their experiences as NPC deputies. Though the Han nationality is China's largest, making up for 85% of the total seats in NPC. Don't forget that China is a country composed of 56 ethnic groups with deputies elected from all of them. Check out who runs China in the Two Session front page on CGTN.com or the CGTN app to find more fast facts about the deputies. Tomorrow morning, officials from the Science and Technology Ministry will meet the press and discuss China's ambitious plan to build up a country that is driven by innovation. A press conference with the Ministry of Ecology and Environment will take place in the afternoon. The focus there will be on the prevention and control of pollution in China. You can watch live coverage of both press conferences on TV and new media platforms. But first, let's check out this report on China's efforts in fighting climate change.
The clock is ticking in the battle against climate change. It's a fight that grows more urgent by the day.
We are in trouble. We are in deep trouble with climate change.
China has been coping with this increasingly challenging situation by cooperating with the international community. During the G20 summit in Argentina, President Xi Jinping urged members to cooperate and jointly tackle climate change. China constructively participated in the UN framework on climate change in Poland last December, proposing common but differentiated responsibility as a guiding principle.
We did our best to communicate and coordinate with all parties. The Paris Agreement did not come easily. We need to stick to it and honor our commitments.
The country's commitment and persistent efforts have produced results. China's carbon emissions per GDP unit in 2017 dropped by 46% from 2005 levels. This means China has already met its 2020 target of a 40 to 45% drop. Power generation by renewable sources took up over 36% of the total amount. By the end of last year, the share of primary energy consumption from renewable sources stood at nearly 14%. The country's forest stocks volume has also expanded. In 2017, newly planted forests reached over 7 million hectares, making China the global leader in terms of forest resource growth.
We have more coverage on this issue in today's program. Our reporter Ning Hong visited Xiong'an New Area, where a coal-free zone has been established. And Hu Chao has a story on how daily straw has made the desert bloom. Stay tuned to find out how. But for now, back to you, Pandong.
Thank you very much, Tongxuan. A lot to look forward to. And Marco, let's go to you now. Tell us how online users are feeling about our special series, Ask China. What are the questions that have gained the most attention?
Okay, today we're going to talk about environmental protection. and how China can achieve the goal of environmental safety. In CGTN's opinion section, we interviewed Wu Changhua, the executive director of Professional Association for China's Environment, for his idea on some of the most asked questions on the internet. He believes that air quality, rural environmental safety, and water pollution are among the top concerns of the Chinese public in terms of environmental protection. And to tackle these problems, he stated that it requires fundamental shifts of China's economic, industrial, and energy structure from reliance on fossil fuels to clean energy. Wu said China's clean revolution was launched about a decade ago. By embracing the fourth industrial revolution, China is well positioned to lead a global clean revolution. And so back to the studio for more discussion on this topic.
Thank you, Michael. Our editorial team has also been keeping an eye on some of the hot topics to emerge from this year's Two Sessions over the past 24 hours. At this morning's press conference with CPPCC member, my colleague Liu Yang had a chance to raise a question to physicist Pan Jianwei on the importance of quantum communication. Pan, also known as China's father of quantum science, said the technology will dramatically enhance the country's information security and change the way we live. Speaking of technology, for the very first time in history, our reporter crossed live with the studio yesterday with the help of a 5G network connection. The super-fast link looked no different from the countless live crosses we do every day. But for those of us at the CGTN and in the TV industry, and maybe even the countries at large, it signals that a new era has indeed arrived. Also on the sidelines of the Two Sessions, China announced it would issue the first commercial 5G lessons very soon. In Shenzhen, Chinese 5G pioneer Huawei unveiled a lawsuit against the U.S. government for banning it from entering the U.S. market. The company said it refuses to become a silent lamb. The lawsuit has quickly become the red-hot topic of discussion. While for other issues facing China, we present our special report, CGTN Observes. Our business anchor Michael Wang explains why China's market is more open than you might think. There are many misconceptions about what it takes for foreign companies to start businesses here in China. Are you sure that you know all the measures that China's policymakers have taken to keep the marketplace accessible? And have you compared the openness of Chinese market with those of neighboring countries like South Korea or Japan? Stick around to hear more from Michael Wang. Now back to you, Pandang.
Thank you very much, Tong Xuan. Now let's go to Marco. Today we're joined in the studio right now by Mr. Shen Yiyang, Senior Green Finance Consultant from the Asian Development Bank. I understand you've been trying to find out major concerns people on social media have. So tell us about some of the frequently asked questions.
Okay, thank you, Pandong, and hello to Mr. Shen. So from our first Ask China series, there's a question from a South Korean asking whether China can control its air pollution because it is affecting their country. And do you believe that is true? And if not, how can we address this issue?
Yes, Mr. Shen. So is that a falsification, or is it true that China's air pollution is affecting South Korea? Do you think South Korea should look more into their own problems?
Well, I think whether the pollutants coming from China or not need, numerical models, observation data, and also researchers, research. But the cross-border pollutant transfer is really raising people's concern. And I think both Chinese researchers and the Korean researchers need to work together, to find out, the reason of the pollution and also find solution. In addition, I have to say that China's, environmental issues have been, getting better. Though China have, more, serious pollution control, and there's some analysis saying that Beijing's, air pollution issue, air quality is even better than Seoul in the recent 1 or 2 years, and Beijing is also getting better in the next few years. So I think first people need to work together, and also for the pollution control, Korean colleagues need to catch up.
Right, working together, not pointing fingers at each other. Marco, that's your answer right there, and you must have more questions from our online users, I guess?
Okay, thank you very much for the first answer. And my second question is that there are still a lot of negative impressions online about China's air pollution. despite that, it has already improved in recent years. And so what should China do to change this image globally?
So, Mr. Ren, looks like this is not only a question about environmental protection, but also about managing the public image of China's quality, right?
Well, I think the public image is also, we need, more, awareness raising. Also need to tell the world, what China has been doing. But on the other hand, we still need a lot of improvement. That's for sure. Still, if we're looking at the 100, most pollutant cities for air quality, still, half of those cities are Chinese cities. We need to work hard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shen Yiyang from the Asian Development Bank. And of course, many thanks to my colleagues, Michael Shan with the digital team and Wang Tongxuan in the studio. Every day for the next week, Global Watch and CGTN's new media team will bring you the latest on China's annual political season. We'll have more stories on the Two Sessions later on in today's program as well. Live coverage, as always, will be available on the CGTN official app. But for now, let's dive deeper into today's topic, environmental protection. Actually, China has met its 2018 target for environmental protection according to the Plan for National Economic and Social Development. For example, PM 2.5 concentrations have been reduced by more than 10% in cities that fell short of national standards. This figure far exceeds last year's target of 2%. China has also met a target for decreasing air pollutants such as sulfur dioxide by almost 7%. The initial target was 3%. According to this year's government plan, energy consumption per unit of GDP should be decreased by 3%. Carbon dioxide emissions per unit of GDP will fall by over 3.6%, and emissions of major pollutants will continue to decline. So, Mr. Shen, let's talk about this very ambitious plan has been made. What do you think would be key areas or some key policies that needs to be implemented?
Well, I think in the past 2 years, China already released many very good policies, including the environmental tax and also some new law and new regulation to work on this water, air and soil. So I think the trend is, optimistic. But however, the target, we still need, put more money, more tough regulation, especially in the local level.
Well, we're talking about regulation. How about legislation? Because we're right in this political season and legislators are talking about this. For example, there are already legislations on water and on soil. Are you expecting more?
Well, I think the existing regulations, if we can fully implement it, then it will be much, very good. So we have the new environmental law, new law of environmental tax, and also a lot of this tax income will go to local government rather than the central government. That will give a lot of, driving power for local government to control the pollutants. What is more, so we have this supply side reform. So China's, development model is shifting from this mass production to, production plus, high value production plus, consumption. So this new trend will, further, help China to achieve their target, for the environment control.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shen Yiyang from the Asian Development Bank there. Staying with this topic, simply by walking every day, you now have the power to plant a tree in the desert. This is what millions of people in China have been doing through a program sponsored by Alibaba's online payment platform Alipay. Nice idea in theory, but how does it work in reality? Our reporter Hu Chao went along to find out.
我叫耿耿，然后我用蚂蚁森林应该有2、3年时间了，现在的话已经累计种了大概10棵树了。然后我平时日常积累碳能量的方式会选择绿色出行，然后通过这种方式去积累了很多的能量。以前的话走路会走得比较少，然后现在的话会就是尽量多走一些路，这样的话对自己身体健康也是有好处，然后同时还能去获得一些绿色的能量。 18年年初的时候，还有幸去了一趟内蒙古，去实地看一下我种的那些树，当时感触还是蛮深的。在一大片一大片的沙丘上，就种满了一行一行的梭梭树，感觉自己在千里之外，每天日积月累的能量是能够改变千里之外的生态环境的。当时是感觉蛮有成就感的。
The Ant Forest program translates your low carbon activity into what's called virtual green energy. Once you've generated enough of this, you qualify for a real tree. Some green public welfare organizations hire some local herdsmen to plant your real tree.
Gongong is among many young people across China who have been using the Ant Forest program. Now embracing a low-carbon lifestyle, collecting green energy every day, and finally turning a virtual tree into a real one seems to have become fashionable among the young.